Radar software and operating system run from an internal system disk within the radar. For a variety of different reasons, you may, at some point in time, need to initialize or reformat this disk by going through the system disk recovery procedure. Radars running software versions 3.5 and newer have a different recovery procedure than those running previous versions. In this video, we will outline both of these procedures. For pre-350 series system drive recoveries, you will need a radar with a combo drive and a VGA monitor connected. You will also need your Radar 24 BIOS recovery CD. If you do not have the CD, contact IS Support and we can get you a copy. This procedure will also require a USB or PS2 keyboard and mouse. Connect your keyboard and mouse to the radar and boot the radar. First, the boot sequence must be changed to have radar boot from the CD. At the motherboard boot up screen, press the delete key to enter the CMOS setup page. This is the cycle button on a KC24 remote. Use the up and down arrow keys to select the BIOS feature setup and then press the enter key. Depending on what motherboard is installed, use the page up and page down keys or the plus minus keys to select first boot device as CD-ROM, second boot device as HDD-0, or use the plus and minus keys to set the boot sequence to CD-ROM CA. Insert the Radar 24 BIOS recovery CD, then press the F10 key, the letter Y key, and then the Enter key to save and exit the setup. The radar will now reboot from the CD. When the End User License Agreement appears, read through the document and then click Agree. The next prompt is the BIOS installer window. For users who want to reinstall Radar and BIOS on an existing system drive, at the On-To prompt, ensure the Radar 24 BE partition is selected. Use the mouse to click the Begin button. Use the mouse to select Initialize. Please note that this will erase any data existing on the system drive. At the B File System Initialize prompt, verify that the volume name is Radar 24 BE. Change the block size to 2048 and then use the mouse to click Initialize. A prompt will appear warning that proceeding will destroy all data. Use the mouse to click Initialize. The installation will now begin. Once the installation completes, the next prompt will ask to install the B Boot Manager. Use the mouse to select No. Click the Quit button. Radar will now eject the recovery CD and reboot. You can leave the CD in the tray. Radar now needs to be switched to boot from the newly imaged hard drive. At the motherboard boot up screen, press the delete key to enter the CMOS setup page. Just like before, we want to change the boot sequence, although this time set the first boot device to HDD-0 and the second boot device to floppy, or change the boot sequence to CA SCSI. Press F10, the Y key, and the Enter key to save and exit the setup. Radar will now reboot from the internal hard drive. Leave the CD in the tray and follow the prompts to complete the installation. Once the installation is complete, the radar will boot into the PDF viewer page. Hit the Cancel button or click on the small IS logo in the upper left-hand corner to exit this view mode. You will also be prompted to enter the radar serial number. This can be found on a sticker in the card cage on the back of the unit. For a 350 series system drive recovery, you will need a radar with a DVD combo drive connected and a VGA monitor. You will also need a USB or PS2 mouse and keyboard, as well as the system drive recovery DVD. First, connect the keyboard and mouse to Radar. Boot Radar and insert the system drive recovery DVD into the DVD combo drive and close the tray. Turn off and reboot Radar. Set Radar to boot from the DVD by following these steps. During the power on self-test, press and hold the delete key on the keyboard to enter the CMOS setup page. Use the up and down arrow keys to select Advanced BIOS Features and press Enter. Select Boot Sequence and press Enter. Select First Boot Device and press Enter. Select the CD/DVD option and press Enter. Press the F10 key and Enter to save and exit the setup. Upon saving and exiting the CMOS setup, Radar will boot from the DVD. When you see the System Rescue CD screen, you can either press Enter when prompted or wait for the system to continue automatically. When the system continues automatically or the Enter key is pressed, the recovery process will continue until you are prompted to confirm the default key map. Press Enter to continue or wait for the system to continue automatically. Next, you will be prompted to either type Yes or press Enter to abort. Type in the word Yes and press the Enter key. Do not press the Enter key until the word Yes has been typed. You will then be prompted again to type in Yes or press Enter to abort. Type in the word yes, and then press the enter key to continue. Again, do not press the enter key until the word yes has been typed a second time. The system will then begin formatting. There will be a message saying formatting part 1 of 2. This will take several minutes. During this time, Radar may enter power saving mode, disabling the VGA monitor from displaying an image. The screen will be black. Press the Shift key or wiggle the mouse to return the image to the monitor screen. When part 1 of 2 is finished being formatted, the system will continue by formatting part 2 of 2. This will also take several minutes and will begin automatically. When part 2 of 2 has finished, you will be asked to reboot. Power off the unit from the front power switch and then back on. Set the Radar to boot from the system drive. To do this, enter the CMOS settings just like before, but set the first boot device to the HDD option. Press F10 and the Enter key to save and exit the setup. Radar will continue to boot from the newly initialized system drive. You will now be able to eject the DVD from the DVD combo drive. The last step required is the creation of the archive partition. When the Radar has fully booted up, hold the Alt key and press the F2 key or track arm 2 on a KC-24. This will take you to the Radar desktop. You will see an IS logo at the top right-hand corner of the screen. Use the mouse to click on the IS logo. This will open up a drop-down menu. Hover over Software. This will bring up another drop-down menu. Hover over System. This will bring up a third drop-down menu. Click on Drive Setup. The Drive Setup window will open. Click to select the drive containing the volumes System and Archive. Depending on the size of your system drive, you will need to follow one of the 2 following procedures. The first procedure is for any system drive with a size other than 160 gigabytes. If, in the drive setup window, the volume name is blank and you are unable to select the menu options above, please follow this first procedure. For system disks other than 160 gigabytes, you will also need a Radar BIOS Recovery CD, which is different than your 350 Recovery DVD. Contact IS Support to get this disk or disk image. Set the Radar CMOS settings to boot from CD and place the Radar 24 BIOS Recovery CD in the drive tray. Then reboot the Radar from the CD. Radar will boot into the BIOS license agreement page. Click Agree. You will then see the BIOS installer window. Click on More Options and then Set Up Partitions. You'll then see the drive setup window. Click on Disk 0, click on Setup, and then Partition as Intel. You'll then see the partition setup window. Click the lock beside partition 2 and then click Continue. Click on the right-hand slider and change the size of the partition 2 and then change it back to exactly what it was before. Click on the lock button and then press OK and then proceed. You'll then see the volume names System and Archive. Under File System, you will also see B File System. Select the drive, click Setup, Initialize, BIOS Archive, and then select B File System. Ensure the system block size is set to 2048 and the volume name is set to Archive. Then press Initialize. Initializing will destroy all the data on this disk. Press Initialize again. Once the initialization is complete, it will ask you if you want to mount the disk. Press Mount. Once you have done this, remove the CD and reboot the Radar. You have now completed this procedure. The second procedure is for 160 gigabyte drives. At the Drive Setup window, select Disk 0, which should have the volume name of System and Archive. Click on the Setup menu and then select Initialize, BIOS Archive, and then select Zeta File System. A window will pop up asking you to either initialize or cancel. Make sure the file system block size is set to 2048 and the volume name is set to Archive. Then press the Initialize button. A window will then appear informing you that the application has encountered an error. Press OK. When these windows disappear, right-click anywhere on the desktop and hover over Mount and select Archive. Once you've done this, the Archive partition will appear in the upper left-hand corner of the display beside the System partition icon. Press the Alt and F1 keys simultaneously to return to the Radar view screen. At this point, the Radar 350 system drive recovery procedure has been completed and the Archive partition has been successfully initialized.